Hey everyone, it's Jeff and Courtney here, and we just wanted to give you some information just to help you understand the volleyball game better in general, and also some of our policies and just how we run things at 575 Volleyball. Some of you have been playing for us for 5 years. Others of you might be brand new to the club or brand new to club volleyball in general. So rather than you just reading about it, we just wanted you to hear it from us. And so you just really understand how we want to do things at 575. So we're going to talk about playing time. We're going to talk about tournaments. We're going to talk about really just a bunch of good information that'll just help us have a fun, successful season.
Yeah, our goal at 575 Volleyball obviously is to put a professional product out from every aspect. We want volleyball, the girls to compete at the highest level. We want parents to have fun and feel like they're investing in their kid in the right way with us. We obviously want the girls to have fun and play volleyball and love the sport more. And every time they step on the court, they want to play more volleyball and love it even more. So we'll talk about what will help contribute to that. But 575 is built on, training hard. Every team, every club wants to win, but we feel like the secret to all of that is how much fun can you have while doing that. So we'll definitely compete at whatever level your daughter is at and give them the best chance to succeed. But we want to make sure that we're still treating them as kids and families and making sure they're having fun while they're doing it.
Awesome. We'll start with playing time. So when you talk about playing time and our playing time policy, we essentially have four parts to it: executing during competition, ability to perform skills when needed, performance in practice, including attitude and dedication, and then attendance level to the team, blah, 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 blah. We want everyone to play, but due to just the style of a volleyball game, playing time is never going to be equal. You might be a setter in a 5-1 and play 6 rotations. You might be a middle that doesn't serve. The libero serves for you, so you're going to play 2.5 rotations. You might be a DS who sometimes goes back row or sometimes doesn't, right? Or you might be a good ball control hitter who can play 6 rotations. So you might play all the time. Also in volleyball, when you're subbing, once you sub in for one player, if you sub back out, you cannot sub in for another player. In club volleyball, coaches are limited to 12 substitutions. So it makes it hard because you have to strategize how to use your subs and using your subs at the right time so you don't run out of subs. And if you are going to run out of subs, you have to have the right people in the game that can be more all-around skilled volleyball players and do everything. So if they have to go front row as a DS, they'll be okay and be able to attack and also be able to have ball control. So there's a lot of different factors into playing time besides just, is my kid playing in the game or not in the game. In the average volleyball game, you rotate about 2.5 times, and there's 6 rotations, right? So if, say we're running a 6-2, which means we have 2 setters, our setter's always going to be in back row, and another hitter will sub in for the other setter front row, right? Then every time we rotate around, we're going to use 2 subs. And then if we also had a DS coming in, we'd use 3 subs. So within 2 rotations, we would use 12 subs, and then we would be out of subs for the other 3 rotations. If it was we rotated in an average volleyball game, the game's more competitive, the score's closer, we're going point for point. We might rotate even more than that, which means we're going to run out of subs even quicker, right? So that's one of the reasons why we want to train players who are good at the all-around game, right? So in our opinion, the best player is a volleyball player.
Yeah, exactly. Just touching on those points, right? The ability for the player to help the team, both from a skill standpoint, dedication standpoint, positional standpoint. There's many things that factor in. Um, in volleyball, typically you don't have, 5, 6 foot girls, and you have probably 8 girls that are 5, 5 and under, or 5, 6 and under. So just positionally speaking, your taller players or your middles, most teams don't have 5 middles, but they'll have 5 players that can play back row. So it does come down to positional spots sometimes and rotations on that. And it's just so you're not confused, there's many times players will have to sit a whole set and then they'll play the next set, which isn't uncommon if your player is in that position, fighting for playing time on that, where other players might play every set but they'll only play half the rotation, or depending on setting or whatnot. So like Coach Jeff was saying, the goal is for your player to develop as many skills as possible to help the team and fill in as many positions as possible.
Yeah, our fifth bullet point here says overall contribution in whatever capacity to the success of the team. Sometimes a kid might just have a great attitude and be super dedicated, and other kids might just be more comfortable on the floor when they're on the floor, and they're like the hype person who keeps the team together. So they might play more just because of that. All right. So again, there's lots of different factors. All right, next part. Going into during a tournament, which again will also cover in our tournament policy, but going into tournaments, during a tournament, coaches are constantly adjusting and evaluating lineups, right? Oh, sorry, we already talked about that. Under no circumstances is it permissible for a parent or player to approach a coach during competition or at a tournament site to discuss playing time. Parents and players are required to wait 24 hours after the last tournament day before initiating any type of communication with the coach regarding playing time issues. If a player is concerned or unclear about her role in the team, she should initiate a meeting with her coach to discuss the matter. Before or after practice, coaches will meet with players during the season to discuss each player's role in the team and help them set individual goals.
Yeah, our goal there, obviously, is to make sure that we're objectively analyzing the situation, as well as making sure at tournaments we're allowing the coach and the team to focus on the tournament at hand. It is by no means, the 24-hour rules is by no means a way to push parents off, just a way to make sure that we all take some time to breathe and then sit down and talk about what needs to be done after a tournament. It's easy to have emotional conversations without having our thoughts organized and whatnot, as you can imagine. So just make sure that whenever communication is going on after the 24-hour rule, it is between the coach, the player, and the parent, and only about that. We don't have coaches or parents or players talking about the other players on the team. We strictly talk about that player itself and what can be done to help that player improve and grow. And we won't bring in another player into that conversation.
Awesome. All right, on to our tournament policy. I'm going to very simply sum up this first bullet point for what I tell my teams. And so the general rule is if we're playing first, we're an hour early. If we're reffing first, we're 45 minutes early. And if we sit the first match, so we're not playing and we're not reffing, then we're there when the first match starts. For example, we play at 8 a.m., we're there by 7. We ref at 8 a.m., we're there by 7:15. We play at 9 a.m. So, and we don't ref at 8 a.m. We do nothing. We're all there by 8 a.m. just in case there's a forfeit or something happens. The game finishes in 15 minutes and then all of a sudden we have to play. It also allows us to see, typically we're in 4-team pools and tournaments. So it allows us to see 2 out of the 3 teams that we're going to compete against in our pool before we have to play them.
Yep, doesn't it sounds like a lot of time, but it's really not that much time before, as by the time the girls get there, some girls might get stuck in traffic or parking or whatnot, and it really goes by in no time. So it's not even overcautious if we're being honest. It's just probably the right amount of time that by the time you get there and get your stuff on, you're about to play.
Awesome. So when the team is assigned to ref, the players should know their roles for what they're going to do for the entire match before the match starts, which the coaches will give them what roles they'll be doing. If they're like doing lines or doing the score or something, they might switch out in between sets. But the scorekeeper, the person who's doing the book, is not allowed to switch between sets. The scorekeeper will do the book the entire time, unless like you had a coach switching out with a kid so they could go warm up for a big game, right? Then the refs would be okay with that. All players on the team must remain courtside while your team is the work team. Be attentive and focused on your responsibility, as we expect the same from others when we are competing. Okay, the other thing it allows us to do again is if we're watching the game and focused and paying attention, then we're paying attention to what the hitters do, what the passers do. Where do they pass well? Where do they don't pass well? Where does number 7 on the outside always hit? Oh, that middle always likes to tip short. So then when we play them, we can already make adjustments on the court as players, right? And not have to be told what to do all the time by our coach because we're watching and focused. We already know what's going on. So we're ahead of the other team. All tournaments require a coach to be at the work table, though some allow you to be courtside. If possible, both coaches should try to help work to allow 2 more girls to warm up. So toward the end of the match, right, coaches might take over for their kids so then they can get ready.
Yeah, the next one, when you're off, we just want our teams to sit together, hang out together. And if they're going to sit down and eat, that's fine, but we want them to go find another 575 team to cheer on. And we want to build our club family and unity that way. The only reasons that you might be allowed to not spend time with your team is one, you have a sibling that's playing somewhere else that you want to go watch them play, which is awesome. We want you to support your family. Or two, we're at an out of town tournament and you have family coming in. It might be nice for you to just spend a little time with them, but still your job is to spend time with your team, and we want to build team unity. We don't have many tournaments through the year, so we do want to spend as much time as we can during that time. And then just make sure that once the second set starts at 15 points, everyone is all together getting warmed up. Obviously, if we're the reffing team will continue to work, and then some of the other players can hop in for line judges and scorekeeping to let those players that are reffing warm up. But our goal is to have girls stay together at tournaments and build their team chemistry.
Awesome. At no point are you allowed to leave the tournament facility during competition. Teams should also remain together through the tournament day. You should never be alone except for bathroom breaks. And even when they go to the bathroom, I'll skip to the bottom here. The buddy system is in place at all times. If you go anywhere, you must have a buddy. If you're going to the bathroom in the middle of a game, your parent could be your buddy, just to make sure that everyone is safe, right? Because safety obviously is our highest priority, and human trafficking is real, and bathrooms can be near exits, and it's just the safest bet for everyone to always have someone else with them at all times.
Yeah, awesome. Phone policy during tournaments. This is parents. I know it's an impossible rule to enforce all the time, but our goal is to have players hang out with their teammates and not have their phones on them. We try to, put this rule in there, and I get that parents might not be there. They need to be in touch with them, or sometimes that's how they communicate with their teammates and whatnot. But just try your best as parents to enforce that. Hey, when you're at tournaments, use your phone as minimally as possible. Especially if we're the work team, there's no phones allowed at the work team. We want to make sure we're doing a good job reffing and keeping the game fair, so that when we are playing, we don't have the other teams reffing and not doing a good job for us and interfering with our match. but try your best to just talk to your girls about minimizing their phone, and then especially at dinners or team meals. At least on our teams, some of our coaches have coached a while. We take the phones away and just kind of put it in a pile on the table and let the girls hang out. And they, once the phones are gone, they'll have a ton of fun. It's just a matter of getting them to put it there.
Hard to enforce for sure, but we try.
Yeah.
Players are required to bring 2 jerseys to every tournament, regardless of the color teams choose beforehand. Mistakes happen. Players might get hurt. There might be blood on a uniform where we have to change colors, or you never know. The washing machine could eat a kid's jersey the morning of, and then you have to wear the other color. So just please make sure you always have both colors on you when you come to tournaments.
Yeah, I think the last one there is just spandex. That's another hard one to enforce because we can't track every kid coming and going, but just we want our kids to be modest, especially when they're leaving for public spots. I know girls feel comfortable in the spandex, but in the volleyball world, it's common. Outside of the volleyball world, it's not so common. So we want to make sure that the girls are modest and representing themselves in the club as best as possible.
All right, jewelry. We'll talk about jewelry real quick. USAV changed their rules a couple years back about earrings, and so as long as they're not like hoops or something that's like potentially going to be dangerous where kids can get hurt, if they're just like little studs in their ears, they're allowed to wear earrings. I saw a couple kids with taped earrings, or some of the players had taken them out, and I was like, hey, you're actually allowed to wear your earrings as long as they're just little studs and not big crazy hoops that are potentially going to get ripped out in the net. I wanted to touch base on a few more things just regarding playing time and just the atmosphere that we want at tournaments. We know emotions get heated. People say some things that they shouldn't sometimes. Kids play bad, kids play good, right? There's a lot of different scenarios for that where sometimes the team is on and red hot, one match, and then the next match we just don't play well at all and we look like a different team. The kids know when they're doing well and they know when they're doing bad, and the last thing that they want is to hear you yelling at them in the stands. So please keep it positive. A fun cheer that you can do as a group is that I noticed that our 17 Ella team at Peachtree City was doing was when the girls pass, they say 5. When the girls set, they say 7. When they hit, they say 5. So it's 5, 7, 5, 5, 7, 5. And some teams have awesome parents who get together and cheer. And those teams are usually a lot more fun for the parents and a lot more fun for the kids. So, sometimes your kids will be playing, sometimes your kids won't. Some parents only cheer when their kids are playing, and then they read a book or do other things when their kids aren't playing. But we would just really appreciate and encourage you just being a great supporter of the team. Let the kids play and have fun. Let the coaches coach, and let the refs do their jobs. Their refs make mistakes too. It's funny to watch parents ref during high school season because a lot of you are worse than the kids. So just keep it fun, please, and be your kids' biggest fans, and help support the team.
Hey, a funny saying is that parents always want the best team on the court, and that's usually the 5 best kids and their kid. So make sure you're, trying to be the parent that always supports the team and the coaches. And, coaches, I promise, are trying to do their best to help win and get all the kids in and balance all the things going on. But at the end of the day, the kids are part of a team and they're never going to get equal playing time. And so we want to make sure that we support every kid on the team. Just like we, as parents, you probably encourage all the kids to be good teammates and encourage them to cheer each other on and make sure you're listening to your coach and all that stuff. So I think it's good advice for us to pass on to kids, but also to pass on to ourselves that, we're being good parents and cheering everyone on and being actively engaged in the success of the team.
Yep. Awesome. Let the coaches coach, let the players play, let the refs ref, and we'll all have a good time.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much.